Welcome to the Lipoedema podcast, hosted by Shell and Tiana. Our aim is to make noise around lipedema and educate as many people as we can about this disease.
Our guest list contains professionals who work in the field and women who live with lipedema. Thank you for joining us.
Laura Hamilton is a true lipedema champion and advocate. Through her own lipedema journey, Laura founded the Pump It Up Pre-Post Lipedema Surgery Info Facebook group, connecting and empowering individuals on similar paths. Her transformative surgeries, totaling 10.7 litres, with Dr. Chris Lekic at Lipedema Surgical Solutions, have turned her pain into a platform for awareness and shared knowledge. Laura's quest began with a knee injury, leading to significant weight loss after a sleeve procedure. However, persistent leg discomfort unveiled her undiagnosed lipedema. This pivotal moment ignited her passion for understanding the condition, prompting her to enhance her expertise in lymphatic care. As the owner of Elegance Beauty and Lymphatic Services, Laura offers both compression solutions and invaluable insights. Laura's impact isn't limited to online platforms. She actively educates medical professionals, bridging the gap between patient experience and medical knowledge. Her ultimate aspiration is to secure greater recognition for lipedema within the medical community and to ease the path for future generations. Join us to explore Laura Hamilton's remarkable journey of transformation, advocacy, and a hopeful vision for the more informed and empathetic future.
Welcome back to the Lipoedema podcast. We are your hosts, Shell
and Tiana, and today we are joined by Laura Hamilton. Welcome, Laura. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's lovely.
So, Laura, we're going to get straight into it. How did you come to learn about lipedema?
It wasn't until I spent several years, I guess, investigating while I was so overweight. And I actually had a knee injury in 2016. I had 2 operations and I had 2 reconstructions failed. I ended up with a screw that was put into my knee too far and worn a hole in my bone. Couldn't exercise anymore because I used to have to exercise myself silly and eat next to nothing to be able to maintain any sort of weight. So from that, then I just could not exercise anymore. I ended up with a right leg that was 53 centimetres bigger than the other leg. It was just, very extreme. And I ended up getting up to 139.6 kilos. So I really just got to the point where I just couldn't cope anymore. And I actually went to the doctor in the end and gave in and had a sleeve done on my stomach. And I lost sort of 50 kilos, but I still had big legs. And I could not work out why. I thought, this is insane that I've gone to all this extreme and still I am dealing with this. So I sort of investigated a bit further and ended up heading down to have my veins looked at on the Gold Coast. I went in there and I said to them, look, I think I've got some issues with my veins. There's something not happening. My leg's still swollen. And he just took one look at me and said that, you don't need to see me. You need to see Chris. You've got lipedema. And I said, I don't even know what that is. What are you talking about? And so that was sort of where that started. And I think I was sort of really gobsmacked. I really didn't know what that was or know anything about it whatsoever. It was definitely sort of a reality check that day, I guess, for me. And a big shock, really, I guess, is definitely. So that's how I found out about that.
So a shock in a good way or in a bad way?
No, it was a shock in a well, both really. Like I was sort of really stunned to start with. And then I was like, man, there's a reason for all these years. Like, there's a reason why that I have spent a lifetime dieting and exercising and trying every diet possible and having Duromine and having Saxander injections and, all of those things over the years. I used to be extremely fit. Like I played rep netball, I swam competitively. I was very fit, but I was always big and just never able to, drop those legs. And I guess they were always the bane of my existence. And I was definitely shocked. And I think in a good way as well. Like definitely it was just good to have a reason why.
Yeah, to know that it's not your fault and that everything you've been doing is still the right thing. It's just not for your body. Yeah, that can
Yes,
be,
yeah,
can be
definitely. Yep.
validating, liberating, empowering, but also a shock in a, oh my God, something else has been thrown at me. So
Yeah,
you mentioned that one of your legs was larger than the other. So was that lymphedema as well?
yeah, so I actually have I have lymphedema as well, and that was due to the operation and the stress that caused. Obviously, you know, I had sort of 3 operations within 12 months, and obviously the screw that been put into the bone and worn a hole in my bone and all those sorts of things. It was pretty extreme, and it was very massive. So, you know, due to that operation was what started the lymphedema, and yeah, that was pretty full on. I had that for some time, obviously, and I had to have decompression bandaging done, you know, every second day, and I spent a long time and have been pretty much in compression since 2016, day and night. So it's very full on living in North Queensland, having to wear compression all the time, and very hot, and it definitely was not pleasant having to have the decompression bandaging done on a day, every second day. It was horrible. So yeah.
Yeah, that would be terrible. Like we're on the Gold Coast and I'm only just getting into compression and we're coming into summer again. So I really should have tried to do this a bit sooner. But far North Queensland, oh my goodness, you've got humidity plus up there. So
Yes,
good on
definitely.
you for sticking with it for so many years.
Yeah, it's definitely been a mission.
Yeah. So you said that you'd always battled with your weight even as like a teenager. So when looking back now, knowing what lipedema is, when do you think it started for you?
Oh, definitely around that time of puberty. 100%. Like I can still, you know, I even was dieting when I was young. Pretty much, I was always big, and always struggled with my weight. And you know, I can remember my mother taking me to Weight Watchers, you know, when I was like sort of a teenager at school, and I those scales tortured me for life, I think. They really did. They were horrendous. You know, at the front of the room with those little pendulum weights that they have. And it was, you know, not knowing, I guess, you know, no one really talks about lipedema and no one knows about it. And that's what I want to change. That's my thing with this. I want to be able to change that. People can talk about it, that people need to know about it, the doctors need to know about it. You know, all the years and all the doctors that I've been to did not know anything about it, never heard of it, you know, and all those things over the years, I think need to change. And I think people need to become more aware of it, because I think there's a lot of people out there that suffer that don't have the network and the ability to be able to talk to anyone about it. And that's what I want to change with the things that I offer now. I really want to be able to do that for people because of what I've been through all these years and all the suffering I've done. I'd love to be able to pass on that knowledge that I have to others, to be able to not have to live like that and not have to wear compression that they hate because it's too hot. I've tried them all, so I can pass on the good ones.
Oh, Laura, that is awesome. And it's more women like you, the more voices we hear, the more noise we make, those people that we're missing that are suffering in silence, not knowing that they have this condition. Like that's our whole reason for being here. You know, we want to make noise as well. So I'm glad that we've been able to link arms. So do you see any lipedema in any of your family?
Yes, 100%. My mum definitely has lipedema, and although she refuses to listen to me about it, she's in old school mode. And also looking at my grandma and the other family members as well. Mum used to joke about it, and she calls it the fat knees of the family, and that was her favourite statement. Even when I was younger, you know, always that got those fat knees in the family. And it's very true, though. Look at all the photos and look at all the family members and stuff, and you can definitely see it. Yeah, predominantly, obviously, on mum's side, and yeah, 100%. My grandmother, my mother, mum's cousin, 100% has it at the moment. I look at her legs and tell her. So yeah, it's definitely hereditary and definitely in the family, 100%. And yeah, I was praying that my daughter wouldn't end up down that road, but unfortunately, I don't know that that's going to happen, but hopefully we can make enough noise so that it doesn't have to affect her in the way that I had to live like. And that's what I want to be able to do too, because you know, she's 10, nearly 11 now, and you know, coming into that puberty age, and you know, I don't want her to have to suffer her whole life like I did. And you know, making her aware and things like that, I think is important. And I think if we can make enough noise around this and get people talking and get people having discussions that won't be seen as you know, people are just fat. There is a reason for that, and I think that that's important for a lot of people, because you know, the mental health and stuff that goes along with all of this is huge. You know, that years of, I guess, being told you're just fat and lazy, and you know, for the 2 years leading up to having my sleeve, you know, I was telling myself, no, I'm not having one of those. No, I'm just being fat and lazy. No, I'm not doing that. And it took me 2 years, and to the scales getting to 139.6 kilos, and you know, before I actually caved and had it done. And you know, I mean, not a bad thing, obviously. Like, it was good that I've had it, and I've got no regrets whatsoever. I mean, it was the way that I found out that I actually did have lipedema, so which was good that I was able to do that. And you know, there was a positive out of all of it for sure. So
yeah, absolutely. Look at all the amazing work you're doing now. So going back to your daughter, like that early intervention, like that's what we want. Like, we can't stop it because we don't know the cause, but that early intervention, the understanding that this is a medical condition, like that would be key. That would be key for me. I'm sure all of us, if we had known at a younger age and known how to care for ourselves. So did you find any other times in your life that you could pinpoint the lipedema itself progressing?
Look, probably, I don't know, not really. Like, I guess when I had Lily, probably I did put on a bit more weight. So after that pregnancy, she was actually preemie. She was only 3 pounds when she was born, so I was 6 weeks early. So yeah, I guess probably through the pregnancy type stage a little bit. But I think, you know, definitely looking back, it's more that puberty age where it really got worse. And then when I had that injury, then obviously everything got worse after that, because the lymphatics were compromised even more, which all then made the swelling, the inflammation in that diseased fat even worse. So, you know, I guess throughout that period really as well. So.
Yeah, and also the stress you must have gone through with that injury and all of those surgeries. Like, stress is a massive factor in the progression of this condition.
Yep. Yeah, 100%. Like,
okay. So how are you managing your lipedema now? What are your key strategies?
Yep. So I eat high protein diet. So obviously I eat 150 grams a day protein. And I find if I keep it up over that, I can pretty much manage pretty well. Like, with diet wise, I can have bits and pieces and stuff, you know, other things. If I keep the protein up there above 150, I'm usually pretty good. Obviously I eat low inflammatory stuff. I try to stay away from a lot of breads and things like that. We don't eat much of that in this house. We have, you know, a lot of fish and things like that, so which is great. And manage it by that. Obviously I wear compression on a daily basis, day and night. So I wear Mobiderm leg sleeves to sleep in every single night. They are the best product I have found. I love them. They're absolutely amazing. And they are great for getting inflammation and causing that reduction, as well as creating a lymphatic pathway. So yeah, I definitely 100% love them. They're probably my best favorite product I think I've found. And then obviously also flat nets and stuff during the day, and the lipoelastics that I have as well. So, and yeah, I guess over the years I've sourced the garments that are good to wear and comfortable to wear, and doable in this climate up here to make us manage. And I guess you know, you've got to have a life as well as to be able to wear compression. So you need to be able to find a balance. And, you know, if you have a day where you've got something on and you can't wear compression, well, you come home and you put your Mobiderm leg sleeves on of a night time, and it reduces the legs down, and you start again the next day. Like, it's doable. You know, you've just got to find something to be able to balance life. I think it's important to be able to do that.
I really love that message, Laura, and I think a lot of our community need to remember that whilst we say that the best conservative management strategies is what you can do consistently, you do have to balance your life with those like we need to live, and we need to be able to wear our clothes, and we need to be able to have a good time and release ourselves from the burden sometimes.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that message, and I'm sure our listeners will as well. So this whole journey of you discovering you had lipedema and lymphedema actually drew you to a career path, and
did,
you
yes.
now support the lipedema community. I'd really like you to tell us what services you offer to support the lipedema community.
Sure. Well, I've got Elegance Beauty and Lymphatic Services. Obviously, I'm located in Mackay, Queensland, but I actually I have created a Facebook page for pre and post surgery support for people having lipedema surgery, and that is obviously as people Australia-wide, and well, there's quite a few people on from New Zealand as well, which is fabulous. And to be able to support those people with that information and create that support network has been amazing, because I just think I found going through it myself, there was a lack of information given before, after, and that support about what if, am I doing the right thing? Is this okay? What do you think about this? All those questions that you're constantly, because you've gone into the unknown, so to be able to do that. So that's, amazing to be able to have that Facebook page and really, support those people. I've also created a web page as well where I sell compression garments to people around Australia, and to be able to support people with that is great as well, because I think having worn them, I only sell anything on the page that I've worn and tried myself. So I think it helps a lot of people be able to know that they're, doable and that they're okay in hot climates. And, I've got garments that I've sourced that are thin that you can wear with nice dresses, and I've got ones that maybe doing for night times and things like that, all part of, I guess, passing on that information and being able to make someone else's life easier, I guess, from, my definitely big journey. And I'm glad that I've been able to turn it into something positive by, creating that Facebook page and also creating the web page, and then supporting people here with Lymphopress sales, like the lymphatic pumps, the pneumatic compression pumps. I sell those as well on my web page. And all those sorts of things, just to be able to support the community and people that are going through this, because like I said, I just didn't find that was any information around, and there was just no support for someone to be able to go to. So I wanted to be able to bridge that gap, I think, between surgery and life.
Yeah, I love that so much, especially when we talk, like, Shell and I decided to create this podcast to bridge the community, bring the community together a little bit more. And you've already been doing that with that Facebook group. And it's so nice to be able to have conversations in there and ask questions to people who have gone before us, whether it be conservative management strategies or surgery as well. Like, we're not just talking about surgery in that Facebook group.
No, that's right.
And to have somebody providing lymphatic services to the community that also experiences the same issues that we experience, I think that's a real benefit to us as clients, to be able to have someone providing those services that have walked in on our path, basically.
Yes, yeah, I've had a lot of good feedback from clients that have actually come and seen me here. Like, I've got a lady that drives 55 minutes to come and see me every second week, because she just can't find anyone else that, she connects with, and she's like, there's a lot of people out there, I guess, that have trained in lymphatics, but they've never actually had to live it and walk it. And I think that's the difference with the services that I offer, because I have the compassion and the understanding of what it's like to wear compression, 24/7, and what it's like to have to be decompression bandaged from, toe to groin, and, all those sorts of things, as opposed to someone that has just been to uni and been through that, without actually having that, I guess, physical experience of actually having to live it. So I think that's why I really wanted to be able to do that extra study and put it to good use, and turn my journey into something positive as opposed to something negative that it was. So.
Yeah, and you certainly did. Is there plans for the future for you, or are you maintaining the group and maintaining your services? What's planned for you?
Well, I'm actually just looking at getting some rental devices for the lymphopresses. So I'm just looking at those to be able to perhaps get a couple of higher devices. I've got one at the moment, but I'm actually going to get some more. And I'd actually just doing a bit more study at the moment as well. So I'm just doing, so I'll be Lymphedema 1 trained then. So I'll be able to have, I'll have Medicare provider numbers and all that sort of stuff by the end of the year, and be able to have direct referrals from GPs. And obviously I do a lot of NDIS as well. So I'm actually fully NDIS registered as well. So supporting people with compression garments and things like that through the NDIS as well. So, which is great to be able to offer that to the community. So it's good. I think there's yeah, a lot happening after this year. I would love to see where this year takes me after I finish this training, and I really would love to be able to do more advocacy. Actually, I go to a few of the doctor's surgeries. I've been to a few here in Mackay, and I do a presentation at lunchtime for them. Like, you know, the reps go around. I actually go around to the doctor's surgeries, and it really shocked me. I went to one doctor's surgery here, and I had 6 doctors in the room, and I had one of them in the lymphopress while I was in there, and I had, you know, 3 other doctors all feeling my arms, and, you know, they'd never felt lipedema before. And I was like, wow, isn't that interesting? You know, there's 6 doctors in this room from one of the main doctor surgeries here in the area, and none of them had actually felt lipedema. So I had them all feeling my arms, and, you know, because I still haven't had my arms done. I've had my legs done, but I haven't had my arms done. And so it was interesting to see their look on their face going, oh, yeah, I can feel that. And showing them my photos from, you know, my before and after pictures from going to, you know, size 22 plus to down to size of 10, you know, has been a massive change. And I think, you know, it was hard for them to grasp that, but it was really interesting to see the shocked look on their face, actually, and the feeling when they were feeling that lipedema and the, you know, little peas, and they could feel the swelling and inflammation and stuff in it. So it was really good. And that's what I want to be able to do more of, is get around and do a bit more advocacy like that, and actually going to all the doctor surgeries and just, you know, get people talking about it more, and actually get the medical profession to, I guess, acknowledge it a little bit more, and understand that it is a thing. And, you know, people are just not coming to them because they're fat and lazy. There's actually a reason, you know, for this sometimes, and there is a reason, because it is a medical condition. So I just think that by doing that with the doctor surgeries and stuff, I think that will really help. So I'd love to be able to get into that a bit more as well next year when I've got a little bit more time and finish this study stuff. So unfortunately, I like to clone myself at the moment, but there's not enough hours in the day.
No, there's not. Oh, what an impact going to GPs and doctors' surgery would have. How receptive are they when you sort of walk into their space and ask them if you could, you know, stand in front of them and present something? How does that go?
Look, they're actually, I was surprised. I just said that, you know, I was coming around with the lymphopress. Just wanted to let you know, you guys, I've expanded here in the area, and just wanted to give you guys some information on the services that I offer. And you know, they usually do it in their lunch hour, so it's you sort of got them all standing around having a bite to eat and stuff. But it's good. I find it was quite receptive, and like I said, I was a bit shocked because they were really intrigued with it, which was great. So starting a bit of fire with people, which is great. That's what I want to be able to achieve, is, yeah, get them moving and get the information out there.
That is awesome. You briefly mentioned when the doctors were feeling your arms and feeling the lipedema in there, that you haven't had surgery in your arms yet. Talk to us about your like lipedema journey. So what's in store for the future for you for your life?
Yeah, so I've had 10.7 liters or something taken out of my legs in 2 surgeries, and I've found that my arms progressively, like, they have gotten worse since I've had my legs done. Definitely. So I'm actually, yeah, conservative managing that, wearing compression to bed, things like that as well. And I will definitely look at getting my arms done possibly next year. But just at this stage, I need to get through this study and stuff this year. So yeah, too much money spent on courses and don't have enough to spend on lipedema surgery.
And time to recover, time to have the surgery. Like, it's all, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
As you said before, you need to clone yourself, and you're not even going through that. Oh, yeah. True. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we ask you our final favorite question, I just want to again give you the opportunity to plug where the lipedema community can find you. So your website, the Facebook group, we're welcome
Yep.
to do a little plug for you.
Sure. Okay. So my website is www.elegancecare.com.au, and that's for all my compression garments and everything. I've got everything uploaded on there. Also, Elegance Beauty and Lymphatic Services is my Facebook page and my business up here in Mackay. And then I've got the Pump It Up pre and post surgical information, and that is on Facebook. And that's the Facebook group that I've created as well. So that's the little community that, yeah, fabulous for even if you're not having surgery and you think that you do have lipedema and you're wanting to do conservative management. It's also a great space to join and have people have those discussions. But yeah, the compression garments and stuff can all be found on my website. So yeah, that's great.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening, Laura. I have the pleasure of giving you our last question, and that is, if you could go back and give your younger self a pep talk, what would you tell her?
My goodness, 1,000 things. I would say eat high protein. I would say go and seek the medical advice. If you're doing everything you can and you have seriously been eating well, exercising, and you are still not shifting weight, don't give up. Don't take that you're fat and lazy as an answer, and don't beat yourself up over it. I think, find the answers, find a doctor that's going to listen to you, and and look further. Just keep looking further. And I think that that's the thing. I kind of given up when I was younger and just gone, oh well, I'm just meant to be fat, and that's the way it is. But I wish now, probably knowing about the high protein stuff and all those things, I think if I had have known all of that back then, things would have been different. Definitely. I wouldn't have got to the state that I'd gotten to. And like you said, the emotional side of things, as well as, all of that stuff on top of it was massive, being a teenager, going through all of that, exercising crazily. And yeah, so I think definitely looking back, I'd say, yeah, just keep going until you find an answer. If you've been doing everything you can possibly do, just keep going and ask questions and don't give up.
Trust your intuition, hey?
Definitely, 100%. Yeah.
And I know it's supposed to be the last question, but I was just thinking, because when you're saying all those things, it's really hard too, because it was all of your family look the same. So if all the women in your family look the same, that's just how we look. So that would probably put the blinkers on to not look further afield to understand that as well.
Well, the fat knees of the family, that's what it got called. So, that's what I mean. You just like, Mum thought I was just overweight. Mum thought I ate too much. Mum thought, like all of those things. So, you just sort of think that that's the way it is. And you just, and then I guess, you emotional eat, which I used to do, and all of those things. And it just becomes that vicious circle. You're on a diet and you just don't get anywhere, and you think, well, what the hell, what am I doing this for? And it just goes round in circles. And unfortunately, you've just got to break that cycle. And yeah, it takes you to breaking point sometimes before you do that. But yeah, I'm glad that I got there, obviously, and I have no regrets about any of this, 100%. And I'm glad that I found, about lipedema, and yeah, I hope that, my daughter won't have to go back and ask herself that question, because she will know about it. So that's what I want for her.
Yeah. What a legacy you are leaving for your family. Like, look at what you're creating, and this one little word has just changed the trajectory of what your life might have been, and for the better. I
don't think I'd be sitting here talking to you if I hadn't have had that, found out about that, to be honest. I really don't. With my medical health, the way that it was going, I've had, I think, about 29 operations all up over the years, and so my medical history is massive, and I do think a lot of it probably could have been avoided if I had have done things differently when I was younger.
But you don't know what you don't know, Laura, do you?
That's right, exactly. Yep. And
I am glad you were here and doing everything that you were doing. So thank you so much for being our guest tonight. And maybe we can catch up with you again after you've had your arm surgery and when your studies are completed, and Yeah.
I'd love to come back and have a bit more of a chat for sure. Like, yeah, once I'm end of the year, December or something, I'd love to come back and have a chat with you guys and yeah, let you know where I'm up to. And obviously, yeah, if anyone needs any compression, then please feel free to contact me. I'd love to be able to help you guys.
I'll be jumping on your website. Don't you worry.
Excellent. Very good. All right. Thanks, ladies.
Thank you,
Laura.
See you later, Laura.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Lipoedema podcast. Lipoedema and its symptoms vary from individual to individual. The opinions and advice voiced on this podcast are of a personal nature and used for educational purposes.
Please take away from this podcast what resonates with you, and please see your GP or preferred specialist for diagnosis and healthcare. We are Shelley and Tiana from the Lipoedema podcast. Until our next episode, bye for now.